Hello my dorks, it's the Dork over here, and welcome back to another video. Now I'm sure you guys are wondering, Dork, you've already done this creepypasta, why are you doing it again? Well, I was very disappointed with how the creepypasta came out. First things first, I messed up the intro. As you guys remember, if you've seen Top Percentage before, the music in the intro was all messed up. Now I don't know why this happened, and I didn't notice it until I re-uploaded it. But I just decided that the story was too good. I need to do it justice. So I've deleted the old video now, and I'm going to be remaking it right here. So, let's get into it. Warning. Some viewers may find the following content to be disturbing. Viewers' discretion is advised. When I first bought it, I played Soul Silver obsessively for weeks. I loved everything. The Pokemon, the people, and the storyline. My beloved team consisted of Meganium, Espeon, Misdreavus, Ampharos, Vulpix and Poliwhirl. I loved them all dearly, and thanks to my Pokewalker, I leveled them all up easily. Another source of amusement for me was the Pokegear. I loved that people you had just met could ring you up and request a battle, or just rattle on about nothing. My favourite of the regular callers was, of course, the infamous Joey. Hey, you know my super cool Rattata? My Rattata is different from regular Rattata. It's like my Rattata is in the top percentage of all Rattata, you know what I'm saying? He would always say. Then, one day, he called me for a battle. Well, this was new. He had never asked for a rematch before. As I remembered, he'd only have his Rattata. Suspecting that his Rattata had maybe risen a few levels, I travelled back to where Joey stood. "I've been waiting," the text read. "Wait until you see how much Rattata has changed." The battle music then started, and the screen split. To my surprise, Rattata had become a Raticate. But I couldn't put my finger on it. There was something different about its claws. They were yellowish and had a brick pattern, like they belonged to another Pokemon. But at the time I didn't give it much thought. As I had expected, Joey's Raticate had grown to level 30. I sent out Espeon. Raticate attacked first and used Dig. That was strange. I didn't even think Raticate could learn Dig. Anyway, it was no match for my Espeon, who creamed him with Psychic. Raticate fell with a scrambled cry that was different to how I remembered it, but again, I didn't think much of it. The screen then returned to the overworld. "Oh, alright," Joey's text read, "but I won't lose to you again. Rattata will be stronger the next time we meet." He handed me an iron. I giggled. Joey was still calling his Raticate a Rattata. It was a few days later, and I'd beaten the final gym before the Elite Four. I was about to head into Victory Road, when I got a call from Joey. He wanted to battle again. I thought it would be some okay experience, so I flew back to Route 30 and spoke to Joey. The battle started, and this time, I knew something was horribly wrong. Raticate was sporting an orange fiery tail, like that of a Rapidash. In addition, the area around its new tail was a purplish red colour, like it was bruised or bleeding. And I could see grotesque stitches holding the tail on. What had Joey done to it? It's like he'd just sewn on a Rapidash's tail onto Raticate. When the Raticate used Flamethrower, I realised with horror that was exactly what he had did. Raticate let out a scrambled noise. It sounded like it was in pain. Raticate was hurt, the text read. Raticate's health went down by a quarter. Flamethrower didn't affect the user, so I was confused, until I realised that Raticate was not used to using fire attacks, and its body was being damaged by the foreign attack type. I didn't want to hurt the Raticate further, but I had to. I sent out Poliwhirl and used Surf. It was super effective. and Raticate fainted. When we returned to the overworld, Joey said, "And yet another loss. No doubt about it, you're tough. Being beaten this often actually feels good now. Still, I sure wish my Rattata was stronger." "It's a Raticate," I screamed at the DS. "Stop calling it that. Stop hurting it." Joey, of course, didn't hear me. Instead, he gave me an iron. I promised myself that I would never battle Joey again, even if he called me. A couple of weeks passed, and I had entered the Kanto region. I had almost forgotten about Joey, when I received his call inviting me to battle. I ignored it and continued down Route 5. After a few steps, he called me again. This time when I picked up, I heard Raticate's cry. "Where are you going? Route 30's the other way." I shrieked and threw my DS away from me. It clattered onto the floor and stayed there. Afraid I had broken it, I picked it up after a few minutes. It hadn't broken, so I continued playing. No matter where I tried to go, I would only go a few steps before Joey called me with that same freaky message. I decided to face the music and battling him. Preparing myself for what I might see, I entered the battle. Raticate had a pair of white-blue wings attached to its sides, as well as the Rapidash tail. The wings may be from a Pelipper. The area around where the wings were stitched on was horribly messy and red. Raticate went first and used water pulse. It hardly harmed my Misdreavus, but the words "Raticate was hurt" flashed across the screen, and it took a third of its health. I took the rest with Psybeam. I got called back 2 more times during that month, and each time, the attacks it used, Thundershock and Razor Leaf, would take off more of its health, until I knew the next time we fought, I wouldn't have to attack it at all. When he did call me, I knew I couldn't escape, so I just went along with it. By now, Raticate was so gory and full of stitches that I could hardly recognise it. I felt like crying. Raticate now wore an obi-like sash around its waist and its eyes were blue and had a purplish hue around them. I've no idea what new Pokemon had died to disfigure that damn Raticate further, but I decided that it didn't matter. Raticate used Ice Beam. This did a surprising amount of damage to my Ampharos, but, as I suspected, the damage that Raticate had taken had depleted its health bar completely. Raticate let out an anguished yowl and disappeared from the screen. Expecting to see the words, "Raticate fainted," I was shocked and horrified to read the words, "Raticate has died" instead. I just stared at the screen. Dead? Raticate can't be dead. You can't die in a Pokemon game, that's not how it worked. Joey said something different as well. "Rattata? What's wrong?" When I tried talking to him, nothing happened. Thoroughly spooked, I left for Kanto again. I wanted nothing more than to forget this incident. I was convinced that I would never have to battle him again, his only Pokemon having apparently died. I was wrong. I was just about to enter Mount Silver when I got the call. I swore when I saw it was Joey. What more could he do with a dead Raticate? Knowing it was useless to ignore the call, I flew all the way back to where he stood. For some reason, his sprite had changed. I couldn't see what it was because the sprite was too small. I also noticed that the trainer that used to stand next to Joey was nowhere to be seen. I talked to Joey again. The text read, "I've become one with Rattata and become more stronger. Are you ready?" The battle began. I almost threw up. Joey, or what was left of him, stood in the place where his Raticate once stood. His hair was matted with blood and his face was horribly disfigured by his new buck teeth, furry body and mangled claws. The stitches holding his body together were badly sewed, and every single time his nose twitched, a fresh drop of blood would fall from the tip of his snout. Joey had sewn the parts that he had hacked off Raticate into himself. The image was so terrifying, so horrible, that I could barely look at him. Joey used Hyper Fang. The attack hit my Ampharos, but did shit all damage. Joey's health went down a fifth. It was my turn to attack. I used Thunder, hoping I'd get lucky on my first try. However, a text box appeared on the screen. Ampharos is too terrified to move. I cursed. Joey attacked again, this time with Crunch. That did a lot more damage. More than half of my Ampharos' health was gone now. Joey's health depleted a little bit more. But when I tried to attack, Ampharos was again too terrified to move. Hoping I could just wait it out until he killed himself, I mashed the A button. Joey used Crunch again. Ampharos' health bar ran out and he fainted. I brought out Misdreavus so that it wouldn't be affected by any normal moves. This turned out to be a good move as Joey used Double Edge. Misdreavus was unaffected. Joey was hurt. There was an ungodly cry as Joey fell from the screen. Joey has died. My player was sent back to the overworld. Joey's mangled sprite was right in front of me. Raticate's features are still visible. I realised that I was silently crying. My tears were splattering onto the touchscreen. In a state of shock, I stood there, not moving for a full 5 minutes. I was unable to draw a coherent thought in my mind. Eventually, I brought my Ampharos to the Pokemon Center. When the nurse gave him back, she said, "Whatever happened to this Pokemon, do not let it happen again." From then on, Ampharos could never fight Eradicate again. He would always be too scared to move. I don't know why, but I just headed back to where Joey once stood. I just felt I had to. When I arrived, Joey was nowhere to be seen. In his place was an item. I picked it up. It was an iron. And that, my dorks, again, was Top Percentage, a Pokemon creepypasta. My thoughts again on the story. I still really like it. And I believe, remembering from my previous review, I said it was a breath of fresh air, I believe. Or it was another Pokepasta, but yeah. This story was unique. I'd never seen a Pokemon story do this before when I first read it. It was fun, intriguing, even a bit scary at some points. I mean, I was a bit disgusted when he started sewing other Pokemon onto the Raticate. That's just disgusting. They didn't go into too much detail with the gore, which I can appreciate. The story never really bored me whatsoever. I was on the edge of my seat when I was reading this. So anyways, if I had to give this story a final rating, 8.5 out of 10. It's still not my most favourite kind of story, as you guys know. But still, I can appreciate it for what it is. A really good Pokemon story. Like, one of the best. And for once, it doesn't mention Lavender Town or any other bullcrap like that. So once again, this receives points. Anyways, this is the Dark Author. If you guys like this re-review / re-narration, whatever you want to call it, be sure to hit the like button, comment down below what's your opinions on this, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Alright, this is the Dark Author. I'm now signing off.